For more than a decade, Hyundai was held up as proof that America's manufacturing revival was real. Billions in foreign investment flowed into the American South. New factories rose from former farmland. Entire towns in Alabama and Georgia reoriented their futures around one promise: global automakers were back, and this time they were staying. But in recent months, that promise has started to unravel. What was once a carefully choreographed success story has become a case study in policy shock. Immigration enforcement actions, tariff imbalances, and sudden regulatory pressure have collided with one of the largest foreign manufacturing bets in US history. Hyundai, the same company praised by state governors and federal officials for creating American jobs, now finds itself exposed, disrupted, and increasingly cautious about its future in the United States. This is not a story about a company failing. Hyundai remains profitable. Its factories still run. Its vehicles still sell. But behind the scenes, something far more concerning is happening. Confidence is eroding. Schedules are slipping. Suppliers are hesitating. And investors are quietly asking questions they weren't asking before. At the center of the controversy is a massive EV and battery complex in Georgia, a project designed to anchor Hyundai's American future for decades. Instead, it has become a symbol of how quickly industrial momentum can stall when policy changes faster than supply chains can adapt. What was meant to showcase America as a reliable manufacturing partner is now being scrutinized overseas as a warning sign. The implications stretch far beyond Hyundai. This moment touches on the future of US industrial policy, the fragility of globalized manufacturing, and the uncomfortable reality that modern factories no longer operate within neat national borders. They rely on foreign expertise, and that raises the uncomfortable question Washington has yet to answer clearly. Is the United States still capable of attracting long-term industrial investment, or is it slowly teaching its partners that the rules can change without notice? To understand how Hyundai reached this crossroads, you first have to understand why its American success was never as simple or as secure as it appeared. Real quick, if you're into videos that cut through the noise and break things down clearly, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people find this, and if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Also, drop a comment and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your take. Now onto the video. When Hyundai chose the American South as the centerpiece of its US manufacturing strategy, the move was widely praised as a win for everyone involved. States like Alabama and Georgia offered generous tax incentives, infrastructure upgrades, and workforce development programs. In return, Hyundai delivered thousands of direct jobs, tens of thousands of indirect ones, and a steady stream of economic activity that reshaped entire regions. Restaurants, housing developments, and training colleges expanded to meet demand. For local governments, Hyundai wasn't just an automaker, it was an economic anchor. But beneath the surface, Hyundai's US operation was never fully independent. Like every modern automaker, especially in the EV era, its production model depended on a deeply globalized system. Battery technology, high-voltage systems, advanced electronics, and quality calibration all relied on specialized expertise that simply did not exist at scale in the US workforce yet. To bridge that gap, Hyundai brought in skilled technicians and engineers from South Korea. These specialists were not peripheral. They were embedded directly into plant commissioning, battery assembly, and quality assurance. Their role was to transfer knowledge, stabilize early production, and ensure that American facilities could eventually operate at global standards. At the same time, Hyundai continued importing key subcomponents, battery modules, wiring harnesses, power electronics that could not be easily or cheaply sourced domestically. Even as final assembly moved to US soil, the supply chain remained international by necessity, not convenience. This model worked as long as the political environment remained predictable. Hyundai's affordability advantage in the US market was built on efficiency and scale, but that advantage was fragile. Tariffs on imported parts, disruptions to foreign labor access, or sudden policy shifts could raise costs quickly. Unlike luxury automakers, Hyundai competes heavily on price. Even small cost increases ripple directly into showroom pricing, consumer demand, and dealer confidence. In other words, Hyundai's American success was real, but it rested on assumptions that stability would continue, that trade rules would remain balanced, that skilled foreign workers could move freely within legal frameworks, that long-term investment decisions would not be upended by sudden enforcement actions or political recalibration. Those assumptions held for years, and then, very abruptly, they didn't. What followed would expose just how thin the margin for error had become, and how vulnerable even billion-dollar industrial projects are when policy shocks collide with modern manufacturing realities. The moment that turned Hyundai's American expansion from a success story into a cautionary tale arrived suddenly and without warning. In early September 2025, federal authorities conducted what became one of the largest single-site immigration enforcement actions ever carried out at an advanced manufacturing project in the United States. The target was the Hyundai LG Energy Solution battery facility in LaBelle, Georgia, a cornerstone of Hyundai's multi-billion-dollar EV strategy. Within hours, hundreds of workers were detained, including a significant number of South Korean specialists embedded in the plant's commissioning process. Construction halted almost immediately. Battery calibration lines went silent. Contractors pulled back. Suppliers froze shipments. A project scheduled years in advance unraveled in a matter of days. For Hyundai, the damage was not theoretical. EV battery production is not a plug-and-play operation. Specialized technicians oversee chemistry calibration, thermal management systems, and safety validation. Losing them midstream didn't slow progress, it stopped it. Equipment sat idle, timelines collapsed, and costs escalated rapidly as delays stacked up. What intensified the fallout was the diplomatic reaction. Officials in Seoul publicly questioned the enforcement action, noting that several detained workers reportedly held valid visas. Internal correspondence later leaked suggested that at least one legally documented specialist had been taken during the operation, igniting accusations of overreach. That detail mattered, not just politically, but economically. From the perspective of global investors, the raid sent a troubling signal. It suggested that even legally compliant operations could face sudden disruption. For multinational manufacturers weighing where to place their next factory, unpredictability is often more damaging than higher costs. Financial analysts across Asia and Europe reacted swiftly. If a $12 billion project backed by state governments and federal incentives could be derailed overnight, what protections truly existed for foreign capital in the US? Korean media outlets began openly debating whether America was still a dependable long-term partner for industrial investment. Locally, the effects rippled outward. Restaurants near the site saw foot traffic disappear. Suppliers delayed hiring. Families faced uncertainty. The raid didn't just interrupt construction, it froze confidence. And while immigration enforcement has long been a political flashpoint, this incident exposed a deeper vulnerability. Modern industrial ecosystems are only as stable as the policies governing the people who operate them. Even before the raid, Hyundai was already navigating another pressure point, one that quietly eroded its competitiveness long before construction ever stopped. While the immigration crackdown drew headlines, Hyundai's deeper problem had been building for years, hidden inside the fine print of US trade policy. Under America's evolving tariff framework, South Korean automakers found themselves facing a harsher burden than many of their rivals. Hyundai and Kia were subjected to tariffs as high as 25% on certain vehicles and components, while Japanese competitors like Toyota and Honda faced rates closer to 15%. That gap, seemingly small on paper, had massive real-world consequences. Hyundai's US success had always hinged on affordability. Competitive pricing, long warranties, and strong value propositions defined the brand. But tariffs quietly chipped away at that advantage. By mid-2025, the numbers told a stark story. Hyundai's operating profits in the US fell by more than 20%. Popular models saw price increases ranging from $3,000 to $6,000. Those increases didn't just hurt sales, they altered buyer behavior. Fleet purchasers, rental companies, and budget-conscious consumers were the first to pull back. Dealerships reported slower foot traffic and rising resistance to price justifications. Financing costs climbed, loyalty softened. Hyundai absorbed part of the pain by cutting margins, dropping from roughly 8% to closer to 6%. But even that wasn't enough to fully shield consumers. In response, Hyundai accelerated plans to localize production. It pledged that by 2030, roughly 80% of its US sales would come from American-built vehicles. The Georgia plant expansion was designed to push annual capacity toward 500,000 units, reducing exposure to import duties. But localization came with limits. Even US-assembled vehicles rely on imported subcomponents, battery cells, advanced electronics, specialized materials, many of which remain subject to tariffs. At the same time, pouring billions into domestic production only makes sense if policies remain stable long enough to recoup those investments. That's where uncertainty became Hyundai's biggest enemy. Ironically, policies intended to protect American manufacturing ended up raising prices for American consumers while placing strain on one of the largest foreign employers in the region. Hyundai was squeezed from both sides, unable to fully pass costs on to buyers, yet unable to fully insulate itself from trade barriers. And when an automaker of Hyundai's scale struggles, the impact doesn't stay confined to corporate earnings reports. It spreads outward, touching the communities that built their future around the company's success. Hyundai's challenges didn't unfold in boardrooms alone. They played out in towns, neighborhoods, and local economies that had come to rely on the automaker as a stabilizing force. In parts of Georgia and Alabama, Hyundai wasn't just another employer, it was the backbone of regional growth. Supplier parks sprang up around its facilities. Training colleges tailored programs specifically for EV manufacturing. Small businesses aligned their hours and hiring around shift changes at the plants. When tariffs tightened and production timelines slipped, the effects were immediate. Dealerships were among the first to feel the pressure. Inventory lingered longer on lots. Financing deals became harder to close. Sales teams struggled to explain price hikes to customers who had come to expect Hyundai as a value brand. Inside the plants, uncertainty crept in. Workers braced for reduced overtime or slowed hiring. Contractors faced delayed payments. Suppliers that had invested heavily in Hyundai-specific tooling suddenly found orders scaled back or postponed indefinitely. Beyond the factory gates, the ripple widened. Restaurants near the Georgia battery site saw lunch crowds vanish almost overnight. Retailers reported lower weekday sales. Local governments began feeling the squeeze as payroll and sales tax revenues softened. Educational institutions weren't spared either. Community colleges and technical schools that had expanded EV training programs began questioning whether the promised jobs would arrive on schedule or at all. But perhaps the most damaging effect was psychological. Communities that once viewed foreign automakers as long-term anchors began reassessing that belief. The assumption that global manufacturers guaranteed stability no longer felt certain. Confidence, once shaken, is difficult to restore, especially when policy uncertainty lingers. Hyundai's predicament became a warning. Industrial ecosystems are fragile, and when trust erodes, recovery takes far longer than disruption. That left Hyundai facing a critical decision: retreat and risk confirming investor fears, or double down, signaling confidence in an environment that had already proven volatile. What the company chose next would shape not only its own future, but how global manufacturers interpret America's industrial promise going forward. Faced with mounting pressure, Hyundai made a choice that surprised many observers. Instead of slowing investment or quietly scaling back its US ambitions, the company chose to double down. In September 2025, Hyundai announced a $2.7 billion expansion of its Georgia manufacturing footprint, increasing planned capacity by roughly 200,000 vehicles annually. When completed, the site is expected to produce close to 500,000 vehicles per year, making it one of Hyundai's largest production hubs anywhere in the world. The message was deliberate. Hyundai wanted to signal resilience, not retreat. Executives framed the expansion as a vote of confidence in American manufacturing and American workers. But internally, the move also served another purpose. By increasing domestic output, Hyundai could reduce its exposure to vehicle import tariffs while strengthening its case for regulatory accommodation. A larger US footprint makes the company harder to dismiss politically and economically. At the same time, Hyundai began intensifying its lobbying efforts in Washington. Industry groups tied to the automaker pushed for immigration reforms tailored to advanced manufacturing. The request was specific: create a more predictable visa pathway for highly skilled foreign specialists, essential to EV battery production and factory commissioning. Hyundai's leadership made its position clear. Without access to specialized global talent, US EV plants remain vulnerable, not just to labor shortages, but to operational paralysis. On the product side, Hyundai also adjusted its strategy. While EVs remain central to its long-term goals, the company expanded its emphasis on hybrids and extended-range electrified vehicles. This wasn't a retreat from electrification. It was a hedge against volatile policies, infrastructure gaps, and consumer price sensitivity. Hyundai also began quietly diversifying its supplier network. Automation investments accelerated. Secondary sourcing outside the US-Korea corridor increased. These moves were less visible than factory announcements, but they revealed a company actively managing risk rather than assuming stability. Financially, Hyundai accepted short-term pain. Margins remained compressed, but executives projected recovery by 2027 through scale efficiencies, automation, and stabilized supply chains. Globally, the company reaffirmed its target of 60% electrified vehicle sales by 2030, a sign that the US turbulence had not derailed its broader ambitions. Still, bold strategies only work if the environment allows them to mature. Hyundai's counterpunch was strong, but whether it would succeed depended on forces beyond corporate control. Hyundai's experience did not unfold in isolation. Across the global manufacturing landscape, other companies were paying close attention. For multinational automakers, battery producers, and advanced manufacturing firms, the United States has long been attractive, not because it is cheap, but because it was predictable. Contracts were reliable. Enforcement followed clear rules. Policy changes moved slowly enough for companies to adapt. That perception is now under strain. The combination of sudden immigration enforcement, tariff asymmetry, and shifting regulatory priorities has introduced a new variable into boardroom calculations: political volatility. Manufacturers are no longer asking only where labor and logistics are cheapest. They are asking where long-term commitments are safest. In Asia and Europe, Hyundai's situation sparked uncomfortable conversations. If a company investing tens of billions of dollars, supported by state incentives and federal encouragement, could face abrupt operational disruption, what protections truly exist for future projects? Battery manufacturers, in particular, took notice. EV supply chains depend on tightly synchronized timelines. Delays ripple across continents. A single stalled factory can disrupt vehicle launches globally. This has consequences. Some manufacturers have begun hedging by spreading investments across multiple regions instead of concentrating them in the US. Others are delaying final site decisions until clearer policy signals emerge. In some cases, projects once expected to land in America are being reconsidered for Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, or Mexico, regions perceived as offering more stable regulatory trajectories. None of this signals an exodus from the US yet, but it does suggest caution. Ironically, the policies designed to strengthen domestic manufacturing may be introducing uncertainty that undermines their effectiveness. Protection only works if investment stays long enough to benefit from it. Stability, not severity, is what sustains industrial ecosystems. Hyundai's case became a stress test, not just of corporate resilience, but of America's industrial credibility, and that brought the conversation back to Washington, where the stakes extend far beyond one automaker or one factory. Hyundai now stands at a crossroads, and so does American manufacturing policy. The automaker has chosen persistence over withdrawal. It is expanding production, lobbying for reform, diversifying suppliers, and recalibrating its product mix. On paper, Hyundai remains committed to the United States. In practice, it is also preparing for uncertainty. That dual posture says everything. This story is not about collapse. Hyundai is not leaving America. Its factories are not shutting down. But the conditions that once made long-term investment feel secure have changed, and global companies are adapting accordingly. What Hyundai's experience reveals is a deeper truth about modern manufacturing. Investment does not flee because of rules. It flees when rules change suddenly, unevenly, or without warning. Predictability is the real currency of industrial growth. The Georgia battery project was supposed to symbolize the future: clean energy, domestic jobs, global cooperation. Instead, it exposed how fragile that future becomes when policy coordination breaks down. Hyundai's bet on America remains alive, but it is no longer unquestioned. Every expansion dollar now carries risk calculations that didn't exist before. Every hiring decision is filtered through regulatory uncertainty. Every future plant competes with alternative geographies, offering clearer rules. The question facing Washington is not whether to enforce laws or protect domestic industry. It is whether those goals can be pursued without undermining the trust required to sustain large-scale investment. Hyundai has placed billions on the table. It is waiting to see whether the environment stabilizes or whether volatility becomes the new normal. Because in global manufacturing, confidence doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes quietly, and once it's gone, winning it back can take decades. The outcome of Hyundai's American gamble may ultimately determine far more than the future of one automaker. It may define whether the United States remains a destination for industrial ambition or a lesson in how easily momentum can be lost. Once again, thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. And hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or something in between. I'd love to hear it.